Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and it is mailbag time. Today's show presented by our good friends over at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, use code Raiders. Can you remember that? Manscaped.com, code Raiders. Save 20% off and get free shipping on some awesome male grooming products. The perfect gift for the holiday season. Pro tip, get the boxers. I promise you, best boxers you've ever worn. Let's go to the first one coming in here from Clash with Zeus. Did you see the video I tagged you on Twitter? Zeus, I will check it out after the live show, but on days that I have the live Raiders Report show, I get a little bit bogged down. I will check it out, though, so that's my word to you. Let's go to Tisha Edmonds. I have come from the 49ers Report. Nice. Thank you for supporting the Raiders Report. Amador Gonzalez taking my family to our first Raider game in Las Vegas this weekend after the Chargers. That's freaking sick, man. I hope that people show up. I hope that people are out there having a good old time. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a little bit out on the whole McDaniels thing, but this is a game that I want the nation to show up. I want them to show out. The Raiders are 1-point underdogs, and when the Raiders have been underdogs this season, it's actually worked out pretty good, but I hope you create a lot of memories. And remember, if you take a sign to the game that says anything about Chugs, he's got to do a boot on the show. Let's go to Ant MKT. If we don't sign Josh Jacobs after the season, what team would he go to? I believe he would go to the team that offers him the most money. And it would be a team that offers him probably over $12.7 million. If I'm Jacobs, I'm looking at recent deals by Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, and I'm seeing that, all right, those guys are getting about $12.6, $12.4 million, somewhere around $20 million guaranteed. Aaron Jones got a 4-year, $48 million deal. This is your time to cash in. So it doesn't really matter what team you go to. I believe if Josh doesn't stay with the Raiders, he just goes and tries to get the bag. So whatever team throws him the most money will be the team that he ends up going to, in my personal opinion. Team to watch out for, though. I'm not kidding you. Team to watch out for, the Buffalo Bills. Because they got money and their window is right now. Now remember, y'all, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I have been told that we have award-winning live Raiders mailbags from guys like Hellcat Q, Brandon Jasper, Tryvan, Patrick B. Take their word for it. You don't got to take my word for it. Lord Buddy Bear, take their word for it. And if you love the Raiders and you love hanging out, hey, hit that sub button. Not only do I want you to hit the sub button, though, I want you to turn on those notifications. Try to be one of the very first people that comment on our show. We call it the Noti Gang here. One of the biggest compliments that you can do for me is turn on those notifications and comment on a video. Why? It helps us out here. So shout out to Untouchable Raider 1960, Ron S. OG Raider 901, Take Flight, and then Nanan 90s. I appreciate you. I see you down there repping the Noti Gang. Let's go to the next one coming in here from Brandon. The only tank is Frank, you my boy Mitch, you my boy Chugs, you my boy Blue. Frank the Tank. Actually, Brandon Jasper, I could see you being a Frank the Tank. Let's go to Lord Buddy Bear. You can't say no tank without the word tank, so it's still in your vocabulary. I'm a proud member of Team Tank. I'll say this, though, Buddy Bear. I saw your comments saying, since you've been Team Tank, the Raiders have won football games. So maybe you just stay. Maybe just stay Team Tank. That way we can keep on winning games. Let's go to this week's MVP, Killer Cruisin'. I'm here, Raider Nation for life, franchise tag. So you want them to franchise tag Josh Jacobs, which that's personally what I would want the Raiders to do as well. Also, the reason why I said he's the MVP, he had the highest super chat and even won our boot, which, Killa, if you haven't, can you DM me or Jeremy on Twitter? DM Jeremy on Twitter. I got to get your address. That way I can send you the boot. But Killa was our MVP on our show on Week 12 for our watch party. If you want to be the MVP this week, tune into our Week 13 game against the Chargers. Let's go to the next question coming in here from Honcho Demands. Why wouldn't the Raiders make Josh Jacobs the highest paid running back in the NFL? Because when you look at, there's 3 contracts, right? There's the Christian McCaffrey one, and there's Ezekiel Elliott is the other one. And then Derrick Henry's kind of the oddball because he's been able to live up to the hype. But when you look at a guy like Christian McCaffrey and Ezekiel Elliott, those guys got paid, and they were making like $16 million a year. And those contracts, they've simply have not worked out. The running back position gets hurt. And when you have injuries like Jacobs has had in the past, you're not going to make him the highest paid running back in the NFL. But here's my question. I'm going to say no to the 16 because it would be like $17 million to give to Jacobs. I like the franchise tag number at 12.7. That's the number I'm going to give. I said that it was a good idea for the Raiders to decline its fifth-year option. I'll take the L there because that would have cost you only $8 million. And now you're going to pay him a little bit more. But you know what? If you would have told me that he'd have the season that he's having, I would have said 12.7 is more than okay. But how much money would you give Josh Jacobs per year if he gets extended? I want franchise tag, and I want it at 12.7 mil. Let's go to Channel Surfer. Any word about Carr getting hurt on Sunday? I know that Carr hurt his abdominal, his middle here. I've been told that it was he might have a little bit of a rib issue. We'll see what happens there. It could also just be that he got the wind knocked out of him. It wouldn't surprise me if they put an extra little bit of padding on him this upcoming week, maybe a flak jacket, which is something that you see some quarterbacks wear that usually run the football a little bit more. I want Carr to be healthy. He's a tough dude, though, and he wants to win for this team. Let's go to JJ. What up, bro? Mitch, much love to you, JJ. Love watching you and Chugs get wasted in game days. When you can check your Insta, sent some Carr and Adams picks for you. Raiders! Here's my thing, JJ. I need to know what your Instagram handle is because I'm not going to lie to y'all. I got about 400 unread DMs. I try to go through a bunch. Y'all are just crazy, and I appreciate that, but it's not easy for me to go through my DMs. Not at least anymore. Let's go to LI Raider 312. Say the Raiders go on a tear. Any or free agents you see them grabbing, that may help. Well, I actually put out a video last week. 4 free agents that, if the Raiders were smart, they would go out and sign. All 4 players play on the defensive side of the football. And actually also another guy that I wouldn't mind the Raiders putting in a claim for, Terrell Basham. He was put on waivers today by the Dallas Cowboys. And the Cowboys, they lead the NFL right now with 45 sacks. Clearly the best team at being able to get after the quarterback. He was a player that they put on the trade market. And it's not because he's not talented. They just don't have the right fit there. For the Raiders, you need all the extra pass rush help that you can get. So Basham is a player. And then check out the video I put out last week. 4 free agents that I believe the Raiders should sign. Let's go to Brandon Jasper. Mitch, it feels so good when it hits the lips. I mean, that's what I've been told. And I've also been told it feels even better when it hits your lips when it's nice and silky smooth. Shout out to Manscaped. And if you haven't used the Lawnmower 4.0, hey, go to manscaped.com, code Raiders, 20% off and free shipping. If you're the type of dude, Brandon, that's running down the middle of a highway because everybody's streaking through the quad, you need to make sure that your jingle balls are looking great for the holiday season. I mean, let's think about it. If Santa Claus cares about his sack, and we know there's a lot rocking in that sack right there, I want y'all to care about yours as well. Because if she gets down there and she's like, yeah, you ain't stocking my stuffing because all she sees down there is a little elf, Manscaped, you trim up that beard a little bit down there, it gives you an extra inch. I'm just looking out for all of y'all out there. You don't want to look like Hanukkah Harry. That was from Chugs. Manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping on the best male grooming products out there. I love Manscaped. Let's go to PG 2869. Clearly uses it. FLAC Raiders. Everybody wish PG 2869 a happy retirement. 32 years working. Let's go to Killer Cruisin'. I sent it to you on IG. Don't let JJ go. It's not that I want the Raiders to let Jacobs go because he's been incredible. But you do have to look at also the years that he's played before. He's always had some sort of lingering injury issue. And my biggest concern is when he gets paid, because this happens with all NFL players, when they're in their contract year, they play through injuries. They're extra motivated. When that doesn't happen anymore, what Jacobs am I going to get? That's my biggest concern. And for teams that are in their playoff window, right, Super Bowl window, you can pay running backs. 4-7 football teams should not pay running backs $12.7 million over 3 or 4 seasons. To me, that's bad judgment on your overall roster. Let's go to Mr. Forever 420. We've been winning since Hooker got hurt. Josh wanted him. I think you're talking about Hendon Hooker, the quarterback from Tennessee. That's a weird connection to make. I know that some people think that they wanted him. I was told that they wanted C.J. Stroud personally. I don't think that there's any correlation, though. Let's go to Mondo 8786. Jacobs, 3 years, $35 million, $23 million guaranteed. Book it. I mean, that's not that bad of a deal. The reason why $23 million is intriguing to me is because when I did my contract breakdown for Jacobs, I had it at $22 million. And the reason why it was $22 million is because of the guaranteed money. I want to say it was on Nick Chubb's deal, which I believe was $20 million guaranteed. The issue is, though, 3 years, $35 million, he's not making as much as Chubb. And to me, you got to get up around that 12.6, which is what Dalvin Cook's making, because his deal was signed a year ago. So he's got to be over that. Who do you see us drafting if we finish the season strong? That's a tough question because it depends where exactly you're drafting. Like right now, if you're the number 9 overall pick, if I'm Las Vegas, I'm looking defense, a little bit more on the defensive side of the football. There's good edge rushers. There's good defensive tackles. There's good cornerbacks out there. And like I said on my rumor show earlier in the week, when you think about talent to me from players like 5 down to 15, there's not that much changing. And I'm still on the field. As long as the Raiders have a shot to make the playoffs, I'm going to put my clown face on and I'm going to say, let's go for it. Because if you go 10-7, you're basically in. Next one coming in here is from Mac Attack 99. Haven't heard any fire McDaniels from you. Do you believe in him or would you still fire him? I'm still team fire McDaniels. The Raiders have won 2 games in a row. That's great. But you got to think, 4 wins this season, okay? You're 4-7. 3 of those, 2 against the Broncos, 1 against the Houston Texans. Those 3 wins there, not very impressive. Yes, they've played a lot better over the last 2 games. I just do not believe in McDaniels long term. I think when you look at already the offseason, because there's going to be people out there, which, Jugs, you can push it. There's going to be people out there like, oh, well, you got to give him his offseason because you got to give him a chance to get his free agents. He's already had his chance to get his free agents. They haven't been all that great. Matt Collins has been a good fit. Andrew Billings has been a good fit. Trades. Yes, you made a trade for Devontae Adams. Devontae is obviously an incredible player. But the Rockies sent for Yannick Ngakoue trade, I mean, that one's kind of a tough one to wrap my mind around. The draft picks. Yes, Dylan Parham has been a good pick. But Neil Farrell Jr., not playing. Matthew Butler, not playing. Zamir White, he looks like he's a good running back, but he's not even close to Jacobs. Brenton Brown, not playing. You got Thayer Munford, not playing. So to me, we've already seen an offseason where McDaniels has swung and missed a whole lot more than he's even kind of connected. Let's go to Robert. What up, bro? All I want for Christmas is that Waller money back. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. His contract, though, is easily, you can get out of it the final 3 years, and that's kind of what I see the Raiders doing. You're going to have him this year. I would anticipate that he's on the team again next year, and then after that, yeah, I would say 2023 will be the final year for Darren Waller as a Raider. Angel, do we have a legit chance to make the playoffs? Yes, you do. You got to win out. You win out at 10-7, according to the New York Times. You have about a 96% chance to make the playoffs. Now, there is a scenario which the best percentage chance is if the Raiders go 9-8, one of those losses has to be against either the 49ers or the Los Angeles Rams. If one of those losses happen to either of those teams, then your chances to make the playoffs are at about 45%, and you need other help from some people. Let's go to Killa DeMonte. Who is more likely to be traded next offseason? Oh, that's a loaded question. Hunter Renfrow or Darren Waller? You know, I actually kind of talked about this on Graphic Raiders Coffee and Convo the other morning, and he asked me straight up, like, would you rather have Renfrow or would you rather have Waller? And what do y'all think here? Shout out to Chugs. Waller or Renfrow? DW or HR? I am going to go with the answer that I gave y'all in the offseason. I would rather have Darren Waller than Hunter Renfrow. And that to me is because when both of these players are 100% healthy and both of these players are out there on the field, Darren Waller is the harder guy to cover. Where Renfrow to me is the more easily replaceable dude. In fact, I would probably say that there's a 2 just win babies chance that Renfrow gets traded in the offseason. Let's go to Jeremy Cole. What kind of stats do you think Watson puts up in his return game? I hope he doesn't play well. I mean, that's my honest opinion. Deshaun Watson, the fact that he's even allowed to play in the NFL is a joke to me. And the fact that the NFL, you can't tell me this. You can't tell me that the NFL didn't purposely put his first game back against the Houston Texans. All they care about is money. They don't care about what he did. So personally, I don't care what Watson does. I just hope they lose the game. Let's go to JJ. Adams jersey retirement night picks. All right, so on Instagram, it's Dopey 1952. Let me take a screenshot of that. That way I don't forget. Dopey 1952 Adams jersey retirement night picks. You got it. Let's go to Mondo 878K. 10-7 is hard, but imagine how hot we would be. I mean, you'd be 2-7. You were 2-7, and then to win your final 8 games, you'd be a team that nobody would want to play in the playoffs. Honest to God, you would be the team that I really honestly believe nobody would want to play in the playoffs. Let's go to OG Bloodstain. McDaniels slowly winning over the Raiders locker room. I mean, maybe. I think it's also just the combination of when you win, everything's a lot easier. The team had high expectations. And McDaniels is the type of coach where when things are good, he's the type of head coach that you want because he's not really somebody who's going to lay into you all that much. But when things are bad, he's also so laid back sometimes on the sideline that it's frustrating. And also, he's been known by other people who have played underneath him in the past that he's very critical. And when you're losing, the critical comments can weigh down on you over time, just like in anything that you're doing in life. Let's go to Ernie Rodriguez, 3785. This is a super thanks. Friendly reminder, if you can't join our live shows, you can also always send in a super thanks on a show that goes out any day. It's got a little heart on it, money symbol. It's kind of like a super chat on a show that's not live. He said, yo, Mitch, I think the game yesterday was not as close as the score showed. I agree. I think the Raiders really dominated. They found their second wind. What do you think? If the Raiders don't turn the football over 2 times earlier in that game, I don't know if it's all that close. Now, there was definitely certain situations which I wish the Raiders would have done a little bit differently, and I wish they would have stayed aggressive. But from start to finish, I do. I think that the Raiders really played their best game, especially on defense. And that sounds weird because the team gave up 34, but that Raiders defense got off the field on 3rd down. They got stops when it mattered the most, and that inspired me a lot because the Seahawks, whether you want to say it or not, Seahawks are a damn good football team this season. Let's go to Javi. Chances on winning out in the playoff predictions. Oh, man. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I expect the Raiders to win out. They're 4-7 for a reason. They've lost a lot of close games. The only, and this is the most glass half full I can be, you can beat the Chargers this week. You go up against the Rams next week. I don't think they're going to have Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, or Cooper Kupp. Then you play New England. The McDaniels team that we have, they know New England very well. Can you beat them? We'll see. After that, Pittsburgh, very beatable. F the 49ers, and I really think the only way you're beating the Chiefs right now is if the Chiefs know they have the AFC West locked up and they sit their starters, which is a possibility. Now, friendly reminder, y'all, if you haven't already hit me up on Twitter or on Instagram, make sure you do so at Mitchell Renz 365. I keep you guys up to date on everything going on around the silver and black. And if you haven't, also hit me up on Locals. We do a lot of crazy stuff over on Locals. 2 exclusive videos every week. 1 live show, which always happens on Monday. So please tune in. But I will admit, Locals probably is for diehard Raider fans only.